Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly wondered, is that smell coming from me? It's a question no one wants to ask, especially after 65. But the truth is, as we age, our bodies change, and sometimes so does our scent. Not because we're dirty, not because we've stopped caring, but because aging comes with little surprises no one warned us about. I'm 71 years old, and believe me, I don't smell bad, and I say that with a smile. But I've been around enough seniors, both in my work and in my family, to know exactly what people mean when they talk about that smell. In this video, I'll share the simple, down-to-earth habits that help me stay clean, fresh, and confident every single day. You won't need fancy products or expensive routines, just a little awareness and a few small changes that truly make a difference. Before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're watching this from and what time of day is it. Please share it in the comments below. Even if it's just an ordinary moment in your day, I'd be honored to hear from you. And if you find this helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss what's coming next. Part 1. Wearing clothes repeatedly without washing. It might sound simple, but the clothes we wear every day have a bigger impact on our health and well-being than we often realize. Across America, in places like Ohio, Arizona, or the quiet suburbs of Oregon, many older adults find themselves wearing the same outfit 2 or even 3 times a week. Not because they're careless, not because they don't care, but because life changes after 65 and so do our priorities. When you're living on a fixed income, like many retirees in Florida or Michigan, every load of laundry becomes a little math problem. Dry cleaning. That's a luxury most people can't afford on Social Security checks. So we reach for comfort, our softest sweater, our old polyester slacks from the 80s clothes that remind us of a time when things made sense. But here's the part we rarely talk about: these older fabrics, especially polyester and synthetic blends, tend to trap odor deep inside the fibers. Even if you don't sweat much, the oils from your skin combine with time and air can create a musty scent that clings and grows stronger. And here's something most folks don't know: as we age, our sense of smell fades gradually. That means we might not even notice when our clothes start carrying that old person smell others pick up instantly. It's not a sign of bad hygiene. It's biology, plain and simple. The good news is you don't need expensive detergents or weekly dry cleaning. Choosing light, breathable fabrics like cotton and washing your clothes once a week can make a huge difference. Even if you don't sweat much, changing your undershirt or inner layer daily keeps bacteria and oils from building up close to your skin. Think about it like this: your clothing is your second skin. And just like we wash our bodies to feel fresh, our clothes deserve the same care. It's not about vanity, it's about dignity. About feeling confident when you go to church on Sunday or meet a friend at the diner in Kansas City. These small changes help us stay fresh, comfortable, and proud of how we show up in the world at any age. Because growing older in America should never mean giving up on feeling good. It should mean learning smarter ways to care for ourselves, one habit at a time. Part 2. Dry skin and cheap soap. As we age, our skin begins to tell stories we never expected, not just wrinkles and sunspots, but dryness that seems to settle deep beneath the surface. You might live in the dry air of Nevada or the chilly winters of upstate New York. But wherever you are in America, aging skin becomes a quiet daily struggle. That tight feeling after a shower, the flaky patches on your arms, and the itching at night, they're not just annoying. They're signs your skin is trying to hold on to moisture it no longer keeps easily. Biologically, older skin produces less oil, and the protective barrier becomes thinner, making it harder to retain water and easier to crack or peel. This is why so many older adults, especially those living on a tight budget, face more than just discomfort. They face the risk of skin infections, inflammation, and yes, even body odor that wasn't there before. The soap we use plays a bigger role than most of us think. In dollar stores or discount bins, we often find bars of soap that smell nice and cost little, but they're loaded with harsh detergents. These ingredients strip away natural oils and leave the skin even more fragile. You might feel clean at first, but over time, the dryness builds up, flaking off tiny dead skin cells that mix with sweat and bacteria, creating that subtle, stale scent that clings to the body. That's not your fault. That's chemistry. But there's good news. Switching to a mild, moisturizing soap, something with ingredients like oatmeal glycerin or shea butter, can help restore the balance your skin has lost. After each shower, gently pat your body dry instead of rubbing, and take a minute to apply a light lotion, nothing fancy, just something that locks in moisture. In small towns across Texas or the quiet corners of Vermont, I've met seniors who made this switch and noticed their skin felt softer, calmer, and yes, even smelled fresher. It's not about looking younger, it's about feeling comfortable in your own skin. Because here in America, growing older doesn't mean giving up comfort. It means finding better ways to care for ourselves with dignity, wisdom, and love. Part 3. Incomplete or infrequent bathing. For many older adults across America, taking a shower isn't as simple as it used to be. In places like Tennessee or rural Montana, where winters are long and bathrooms can be cold and slippery, bathing becomes something we plan, not something we rush into. And for good reason. Slipping in the shower is one of the top causes of injury for people over 65, and once it happens, that fear never quite leaves. So what do? We adapt. We take quicker showers. We skip washing certain areas, thinking a rinse is good enough. But over time, these shortcuts add up. And the places we avoid, like under the arms, behind the ears, between the toes, or around the groin, quietly become breeding grounds for odor and bacteria. From a biological standpoint, these areas are naturally warm and moist, the perfect environment for bacteria to grow. And because our skin gets thinner with age, it's more vulnerable to irritation, infection, and lingering smells. Even if we don't sweat like we used to, we still shed skin produce oil and carry traces of what our bodies go through each day. The solution isn't long hot baths or harsh scrubbing. In fact, too much heat and friction can dry the skin and make things worse. What helps is short, warm showers with intention. Use a sturdy shower chair if balance is a concern, and keep a soft washcloth handy to gently clean those often missed spots. In small American towns like Paducah, Kentucky, or in bustling cities like Chicago, I've met seniors who transformed their health just by adjusting their bathing routine. It gave them not only physical comfort, but a sense of control and confidence they hadn't felt in years. After all, smelling fresh isn't just for appearances. It's a matter of dignity, of feeling good in your own skin. So if you've been skipping steps because of fear or fatigue, know that you're not alone. And there are safe, manageable ways to care for yourself without putting your safety at risk. Here in America, aging may bring new challenges, but with the right habits, we can rise to meet them with grace and strength. Part 4. Hair loss. Dandruff and odors from the scalp. In the quiet routines of daily life, it's easy to overlook our scalp, that patch of skin just above the forehead, where memories and years quietly gather. Across America, from the humid summers of Georgia to the dry air of Colorado, older adults often feel their hair thinning their scalp, flaking, or an odor they can't quite explain. It doesn't feel urgent. It's not painful. But slowly, silently, it becomes part of how we carry ourselves. The truth is, as we age, our scalp changes, just like the rest of our skin. It produces less oil, but what little remains can build up with old sweat skin cells and residue from shampoos or styling products. That buildup, especially when left for several days, becomes a feeding ground for bacteria and fungus, two of the biggest culprits behind scalp odor and dandruff. And then there's the hairbrush. We reach for it every morning, but how often do we clean it? Old hair oils and dust cling to the bristles, and every time we use it, we're brushing that residue right back onto a freshly washed head. The same goes for pillowcases and hats, which soak up sweat and oil night after night and quietly return it to our skin. That's how a subtle scalp smell begins, not from laziness, but from routines that need a gentle refresh. The good news is, you don't need salon treatments or expensive shampoos. Washing your hair every 2 or 3 days with a mild, nourishing formula is enough for most seniors, unless your doctor recommends otherwise. Rinsing behind the ears, cleaning combs weekly, and tossing your pillowcases in the wash every Saturday, these tiny steps can bring a huge sense of renewal. I've heard stories from folks in Minnesota, Arizona, even New Jersey people in their 70s and 80s, who felt a little more alive, a little more themselves, just by paying more attention to their scalp. They stood taller, smiled brighter, and weren't afraid of leaning in for a hug at church or brunch. Because caring for your scalp isn't about vanity. It's about self-respect. It's about remembering that no matter how old we are in America, we all deserve to feel clean, confident, and connected to the world around us. Part 5. Intimate hygiene and underwear care. It's not something we talk about often, especially not in public, but intimate hygiene matters more than ever as we grow older in America. From the quiet neighborhoods of Indiana to retirement homes in Southern California, many older adults experience changes in this area that feel uncomfortable to mention. But the truth is, the way we care for our private areas plays a major role in how fresh and healthy we feel each day. As we age, our skin becomes thinner and more sensitive, especially in the areas that stay covered and warm most of the day. Even small leaks of urine, which are incredibly common in both men and women over 65, can leave behind dampness that quickly leads to odor, irritation, and even infection. Using dry toilet paper alone doesn't always remove those residues, it just moves them around and can sometimes make the skin even more irritated. That's why so many caregivers, especially those who worked in pediatric or elder care across the U.S., recommend a more gentle approach. Think back to how we clean babies, not with paper, but with warm water and soft cloth. This same method, when applied with care and consistency, helps remove moisture more thoroughly and soothes delicate skin. In places like Texas and Pennsylvania, I've heard from seniors who made one small change, rinsing instead of wiping, and saw a dramatic improvement in both odor and comfort. It's not about embarrassment, it's about treating your body with the same gentleness you'd offer a loved one. Another key habit is checking and changing your underwear daily, even if you think it's still clean. Underwear traps sweat oils and small leaks throughout the day, and re-wearing it is like putting on yesterday's worries all over again. Washing with mild detergent and letting it dry fully helps prevent bacterial growth and keeps the fabric soft and kind to your skin. It might feel like a small detail, something no one sees, but it affects how you walk, how you sleep, how confident you feel in your own home. Here in America, where independence is everything, staying fresh down there is about more than hygiene. It's about dignity, comfort, and showing yourself a level of care you absolutely deserve. Part 6. Oral hygiene and breath. You can be dressed well, speak kindly, and carry yourself with grace, but if your breath isn't fresh, people notice more than you think. Across America, from church gatherings in Alabama to senior potlucks in Oregon, I've heard the same quiet worry, I don't know if my breath smells, but I hope it doesn't. It's not something folks bring up often, even among friends, because it feels deeply personal, almost like a judgment on our cleanliness or character. But it's not. In fact, most bad breath in older adults doesn't come from poor hygiene, it comes from biology. As we age, our mouths produce less saliva, especially during the night. That stale, dry environment allows bacteria to multiply, and those bacteria break down proteins, releasing sulfur gases that smell like rotten eggs or old socks. Dental experts and even professional tasters have said that one of the most unpleasant human scents is stale saliva. And when you combine that with dentures, dry mouth from medications, or unclean dental tools, it becomes a recipe for persistent mouth odor. But there's real hope, and it doesn't involve expensive products or harsh mouthwash. Start with water. Just drinking more water throughout the day helps rinse away food particles and keeps your mouth moist and active. Next, brush your teeth gently twice a day, making sure to reach the gums and tongue, both of which can harbor odor-causing bacteria. For those with dentures, cleaning them thoroughly every night is essential, not just a rinse, but a proper soak and scrub. Using floss or a water flosser, the kind you can find at stores in places like Walgreens or Target, helps clear debris between teeth where toothbrushes miss. And don't forget to gently clean the inside of your cheeks and the roof of your mouth. I've spoken with seniors in Phoenix and Pittsburgh who were amazed by how fresh they felt after just 1 week of changing their oral care routine. They smiled more, spoke with confidence, and stopped worrying if someone would step back mid-conversation. Because in America, where conversations often begin with a handshake and a smile, feeling confident about your breath isn't just about hygiene. It's about self-respect, comfort, and honoring your presence in every room you walk into. Part 7. Loss of smell in old age. One of the quietest changes that happens as we grow older, and often the most overlooked, is the slow fading of our sense of smell. It doesn't disappear overnight. It creeps in gradually like a soft fog settling over familiar ground. And in towns all across America, from the forests of Oregon to the flatlands of Nebraska, many older adults don't even realize it's happening. You might notice that your morning coffee doesn't smell as bold as it used to, or that your favorite lotion feels the same, but its fragrance barely registers anymore. That change might seem harmless at first, even a little convenient, especially when it comes to blocking out unpleasant odors. But here's the tricky part: when our noses stop working at full strength, we can't detect the subtle signs that others around us can still pick up easily. Things like stale clothes, old sweat, or body odor from dry skin and bacteria can linger, and we have no idea they're there. It's not about poor hygiene, it's biology. Scientists call this age-related smell loss presbyosmia, and it affects up to 75% of adults over the age of 70 in the United States. That means millions of people in big cities like Chicago or quiet towns like Bozeman, Montana, are living without one of the body's most important early warning systems. And it's not just about smell, it's about safety, nutrition, memory, and yes, how fresh we feel in our own skin. The good news is there are ways to adapt. Start by building habits that don't rely on your nose alone. Check your clothing each evening. Does it need to be washed even if it looks clean? Set reminders to change your undershirts, socks, and pillowcases. And if you have someone you trust, a spouse, a daughter, a close friend, ask them gently, "Do I smell okay to you today?" It's a vulnerable question, but it can make a world of difference. Because when we lose our sense of smell, we haven't lost our dignity. We just need new tools to help us stay confident and clean. Here in America, growing older doesn't mean letting go of self-care. It means learning how to care differently, with intention, with compassion, and with wisdom. Part 8. Indoor air bedding and lingering odors. We often think of personal hygiene as just washing our bodies, brushing our teeth, or changing our clothes. But for many older adults across America, from small apartments in Queens to quiet ranch homes in Kansas, there's something even more important that quietly surrounds us every day: the air we live in. And over time, that air begins to carry more than just memories. As we age, we naturally spend more hours indoors, especially during colder months or in places where mobility becomes limited. And when windows stay closed, ventilation weakens, and cleaning routines become less frequent, the home itself begins to collect invisible odors. Not because the person isn't clean, but because the space is holding on to smells that quietly build up over the years. Think of the soft cushions on your recliner, the comforter that hasn't been washed since spring, or the old rug beneath your feet. All of these fabrics trap moisture, body oils, pet dander, and even trace amounts of urine. If incontinence is an issue, which is common in seniors across the U.S., add in cleaning products with heavy fragrances or chemical residue, and suddenly the air in the room feels heavy, stale, or off, even if you don't notice it yourself. The human nose adapts quickly, so when we live in the same environment day after day, we stop smelling what guests might notice instantly. It's not just about embarrassment, it's about health. Poor indoor air quality has been linked to respiratory issues, brain fog, and increased inflammation, all of which affect older adults more strongly than younger ones. But the good news is small steps make a big difference. Opening the windows for just 15 minutes a day when weather permits helps circulate fresh air. Washing pillowcases weekly, vacuuming carpets with a HEPA filter, and wiping down hard surfaces regularly keeps dust and odors from piling up. If you can, adding an air purifier, even a small one, helps reduce allergens and airborne particles. I've spoken with seniors in Phoenix, Boston, and Tulsa who say they feel more alert, more comfortable, and even sleep better when their homes feel fresh. Because here in America, our homes are not just where we live, they're where we breathe rest and build peace. And every breath we take should feel like a quiet promise of care, not just for the space, but for ourselves. The truth is, staying fresh as we grow older in America doesn't require expensive products, designer soaps, or a shelf full of chemicals. It starts with awareness and continues with small, steady changes we choose to make every day. Whether it's the clothes we wear, the air we breathe, or how we care for our mouth and skin, each habit becomes part of how we feel inside our own body. And this isn't about impressing others or chasing youth. This is about something far more personal, our confidence, our dignity, and that quiet sense of peace we carry when we know we're taking care of ourselves. In every town across the United States, from the rolling hills of Virginia to the sunny sidewalks of San Diego, older adults are discovering that they can feel cleaner, lighter, and more comfortable without spending more or working harder. If you're still figuring this out, still wondering what might work best for your body or your home, please know this: you are not alone. Thousands of others are walking the same road, adjusting, adapting, and learning right alongside you. The tips you've heard today aren't rules or judgments. They're gentle reminders that you deserve to feel fresh inside and out every day. And if even one of these suggestions feels helpful to you, I hope you'll try it. See how you feel when your sheets are clean, your breath is fresh, and your skin isn't itching by noon. Sometimes those little wins are what help us face the day with more energy, more grace, and just a bit more joy. Before we end, I'd love to hear from you truly. Do you have a personal trick or routine that helps you stay fresh and confident in your own skin? Share it in the comments below. And if this video helped you in any way, just type the word fresh so I know you're walking this journey with me and with others in this beautiful community. Here in America, growing older is a blessing, but caring for ourselves is a choice. And I believe from one neighbor to another, we're all worth that choice every single day.